Welcome back to the third episode of Everyday Life with Paul and Steve. I'm Paul.
I'm Steve. And on this show, we talk about things going on in our life, around the world, and our production studio as well, or our production company.
And speaking of our production company, we decided to do something a little differently. To give you guys a little notes here, I purchased a home, and Steve and I have been wanting to try and get into like real estate, shooting real estate videos. And in this industry, it's hard to show someone what you can do if you don't have a video to do it. So it's almost like a catch-22.
Yeah.
How can you show someone to do it if they don't give you the opportunity?
You can't just say we can do this, this, and that without having any proof to show them.
Exactly. So what we thought would be a good idea is what we've done before many times in the past. We just make a video of our own, and we decide that we are just going to shoot my house and treat it like I was selling it.
Yep.
And so we could show potential clients or potential people that are selling homes, or try and hook up with real estate agents to show them, hey, this is what we can do.
And yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, think about when you're trying to buy a home or sell a home. Yeah, you have pictures that you can look at, but you don't get the same feel of moving through the space. And so that's why we decided to make a video, so you can actually feel moving through the space. And
yeah, because when I was looking for homes, even before I bought this one, because this one was a different scenario, I would like to watch the videos. It just helped me, like you said, visualize the homes way more than just a simple photo, because you can doctor up a photo, I feel like, so much more and edit it just compared to a video, where you can really show a space.
The real feel of almost like you're moving through the space, exactly. So how we kind of started that, we were outside first. We shot for like 10, 15 minutes with the
you
drone.
busted out your drone, yeah.
Yep, got some like establishing shots, and then showed like the driveway and the backyard and stuff, flew around for a little bit. And then
the drone stuffs are all really cool stuff.
Always.
I love that. It's the DJ Magic.
The Mavic Air.
Mavic Air, yeah.
Yep.
That's a really nice drone, and you picked that up at what, Costco?
At Costco, yeah, just in case. I mean,
didn't you get your camera too at Costco?
I did. Hey, shout out to Costco. Yeah,
Costco just picking up all your video production equipment.
Hey, I mean the KS life, definitely.
So we shot the drone, and then what we decided to do next is I always thought the cool shot was when you kind of open the front door and the camera comes in.
Yep.
So we decided to tackle that shot with the gimbal.
The Moza gimbal.
Yep, Moza Aircross. And what we had to do with that was one person had to use the gimbal, and then the other person had to open the door, and that presented challenges in itself.
Right, because you couldn't hold the gimbal and try to open doors and stuff. So I think, you had the gimbal, and then I was inside. I had to open the door and run out of the way because I couldn't be in the shot either. So I had to open the door and then run through the kitchen down around the corner into the basement, hide on the stairs so I wasn't in the shot. And literally I just remember hearing you walking through, and I'm like,
is he going to find me?
Yeah, I'm hiding. I'm like, what are we doing? I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm playing hide and go seek at the same time, making video work. It's fun. Huh?
Yeah, we had to do that 3 or 4 times before we got the one that we wanted, and then just kind of going through the flow of it. You just, we went to the kitchen, took some kitchen shots, and then the kitchen and the living room were connected, so it was almost like one big circle that we kind of hit both rooms.
Yeah, we actually tried both directions, because you could enter the house and either walk through the family room or you could walk into the kitchen. So we did both ways to see which one we thought would look better eventually.
Leading to the video that we did. And then, taking that to the next step, it was another challenging, tricky shot. I almost have these barn door or saloon type doors. And then once again, that created challenges where this time you couldn't be behind it opening the door because it was a long hallway.
Right.
And so what did you have to do for that?
I had to lay on the ground and push the door open. And you're like, oh, no, sorry, hold on, reset. I'm like,
and then while I'm trying to step over you.
Yeah, so I'm laying down, and then you're trying to climb over me. The whole situation was pretty ridiculous. But
it was, like you said, it was fun. Yeah, it's good to do something like that, because it's I've never done anything like that before.
Right.
And watching, because you always said when you were a kid, your mom would always watch those home shows.
Oh my gosh, and I hated
them.
The HG4 or whatever it was.
HGTV or something.
Oh my gosh, I thought they were so boring. I hated it. But it must have gotten engraved in my mind somewhere, because now I flip them on. I'm like, ooh, that catches my attention. Oh, I like that shot. Look, ooh, nice kitchen. All of a sudden, everything starts firing off in your head, and you're like, now I see why she watches that.
And then I guarantee you probably applied some of those shots inside the video, or tried
definitely.
to at least.
Yeah, some of the flow of how they present some things, I guess. It makes, and some of the transitions, which we learned actually from doing. We kind of did a mini real estate of the hair salon.
Yeah.
Remember that? So we did that, and that's where we kind of got an idea of, okay, like certain things can flow as a movement, maybe like a bathroom, like tilt,
Tilt up into another type of shot or a pan
dissolve
into another room.
Yeah, exactly. So that was nice that we learned a few things from that as well. So
no, absolutely, and just kind of running down, we hit up all the bedrooms.
Yep, bathrooms. Yep.
At that point,
pretty generic.
Yeah, it's pretty generic. You're going through the flow. You're hitting up all the shots and stuff, or hitting all the rooms. It's just like, you really just want to showcase the house as best as possible.
Exactly.
Because it's like, you want to show off this house and give the client a good video because they want to try and sell that house as fast as possible. And if you can, instead of going to like a showing and be like, oh, let's go see this house, but you're unsure of it, you can show someone a video right away.
So from their home.
Yeah, from their home, they can watch a couple videos and be like, I actually really like that one.
Let's go check it out.
Instead of going to 10, 15 houses and you're like, these
It'll be a long day.
They are, yeah. I remember going to like 4 or 5 of them with Jordan, and it took forever. I'm just like, man, this is such a process, And yeah, we looked at photos, and like I said, photos on a little screen, they look so much better. And then you get there and you're like, that's not what I like.
Or you find
or
you find like a dead rodent in a house, and you're like, that wasn't in the picture.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of that, I have a great story. So when I was looking about 2 years ago for houses, me and Jordan, we were at like 15 going towards east, towards the water, and there's this little house, and it was on the market for a while. And you walk in, it was pretty nice, it was older style. You could tell like older folk live there. And so we're walking through, and we see the blinds are like all mangled, and we're like, what? And then so we're looking around still. It just gave us a weird vibe. So we're looking around still. And then all of a sudden, we look back towards what the kitchen table is. There was just a squirrel just chilling there dead inside the house.
You're like, how did this even get in here?
It must have snuck in through a vent
or
a roof,
or
attic,
and
then he got trapped in there, and he realized the window was the way. Well,
looked like the way out,
looked like
just
a way
like a
out.
fly, same thing.
Yep, and he just took down
bird,
all
whatever.
the blinds. Yeah, and it was hilarious. And we're like, yeah, let's get out of here like right now.
Right. Yep. Not buying that house.
So I always give him crap for that, for taking me to a house that had a dead
you're
rodent inside of it.
That's good.
But the whole point of doing all this once again is, we want to, try and do real estate videos. So if anyone out there has a home that wants to be sold, check out our video on our PB Productions YouTube page. So you can kind of see what we can do for you. And if you like what we did, give us a call. We'll be gladly come out, use the drone, use the gimbal, and make your house look really sweet. We'll try and sell or we'll try and get you your house sold as fast as possible. Right. And that's kind of the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, hey, we're here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and if you actually, check out the video, honestly, and see what kind of, what it is, what a real estate video looks like. So, check it out on our YouTube page. Or
PB
Facebook.
Productions YouTube page, Facebook, YouTube, all that.
Yeah. So along with the real estate, we also like to make other types of videos, pretty much whatever we can do.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, about everyday life. My father called me, actually what happened was they went up north. My parents went up north for a couple of days, and I was grabbing the mail like on my way to or home from work. And one day I find a notice on the door.
It's never good.
No, not good. I read the notice, and it says like that your sidewalk is like it's not up to code and needs to be fixed, otherwise you're going to get a fine. So let me reverse back like a year before that. The city came out and ripped the sidewalk out to fix a pipe or something, and then instead of replacing the sidewalk, they just put a pile of rocks there.
Which doesn't sound very smart.
So for like a year, my parents have had to look at just a pile of rocks in their front yard. And again, of course, they leave for a few days, and they end up getting a notice that they're going to get a fine for this sidewalk because it's not up to code. So I call them, I let them know they're aware of the situation. A few days later, my dad calls me and says, hey, can you and Paul come over this Saturday and help me lay cement? And I'm like, of course we can. We have no idea what we're doing, so I hope someone's there to direct us.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing when I asked you. I'm like, I'll do whatever, but just don't expect me to lead the project.
Exactly.
I'm here to help and be a helping hand.
Right, and so we didn't bring like a bunch of camera equipment, which we could have. We were just more thinking, all right, let's go do the cement. But luckily we recorded some of it. We documented it. That's the way we'll say.
And some people were like, Paul, get to work. Even though I was working, it's like you can shoot video and work at the same time. It's not, especially with your phone when you can just grab and just point for 10 seconds and walk away.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like a large scale project, like a driveway or something, would have been a little different. But it's one sidewalk. How many hands can you really put on? Anyway,
Who's got hands? Handy
so
hands.
yeah, so we show up, and first thing we got to do is remove all the rocks.
And that was honestly the most tedious and probably hardest spot, or probably one of the hardest, because it was a lot of rocks.
We didn't have a wheelbarrow.
No, we did. We had a makeshift wheelbarrow. We got there, and by the way, let's set the time. It was like 8 in the morning when we got there.
Sounds about
Your
right.
parents had McDonald's for us.
Yeah,
That was very nice of them.
Offered breakfast.
But
that
yeah,
was good.
getting back, we had to remove all these rocks, and we just basically had to go back and forth for
We had
about a good hour.
a dolly and a bucket.
Yep.
And just carrying the rocks to the backyard, dumping them, coming back. It was literally taking so long. At one point, you found another bucket, and we're like, "I'm gonna just carry this." You went to pick it up, and the handle popped off.
I was looking at your dad. I was like, "Sorry about your bucket."
He's like, "It's all right."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, well, all right." He's like, "Luckily, we got this one."
And then
Gave you another bucket.
so yeah, we kept doing that. We got
Took
the
all the
rocks.
rocks
We got the
out.
rocks. You know, boom,
And then
boom.
you have to level everything out, and you got to cut a little bit of the grass, the edges out, so you can put in like the wood support beams,
Yep.
like for the cement. And everything has to be level and flush. Like you want it to look nice. You don't want,
And
or you don't want
also,
to crack.
and you also don't want the city to come out and be
And-
like, "That's not proper." Then you get another
Redo
notice
it.
or fine, and you're just like,
Exactly.
"I
then you
just
got to
did
tear
this."
that out and replace it. Oh my god, that would
that-
have been a process.
That'd
So
be an
luckily,
absolute nightmare.
luckily, again, we had some direction, and you and me just did a lot of the labor, which is fine.
Which is
whatever.
completely fine.
Yeah,
I do not mind at all.
Yeah, we had to flatten it out, and it had to be 4 inches deep, and like even so, eventually.
And your dad was literally had a ruler out.
Yep,
and he
a
kept
measure. We had to
measuring.
see where. Yep, make sure it was.
He was the ruler guy. He's
flush.
like, "Hey, this is 3.5.
Yep,
Move some of that
yep,
dirt over to here
exactly.
because this is a little higher." And it's just you never think about leveling the ground how you want to,
Right.
because like I never thought of it
I
that
never
way.
even laid cement either. Again, so
Yeah.
you just think you just pour some cement in it,
And you're good to go. Walk away. Hey, just let it dry.
So, and then we had to use a tool. I don't even know what the tool is called, but it's like it's a long stick with a flat piece so that you can flatten.
Basically a
or,
giant
like level.
square
Yeah,
almost.
it is. That's exactly what it is.
A
And
flat square.
It's just to make the surface even. And so we finally get all that done. And then my uncles get to show up. So this is like 2 hours in at this point.
Yep.
And it's not a cement truck, but they have a cement mixer.
Yes, which
on
we
a
had to
truck.
which we had to
On
get
a
off the
trailer.
truck,
So-
wheel it over to us.
You know, and then what? We had 20, 30, 40 bags of cement we had to carry over.
You carry over, and those probably weighed about 5 to 10 pounds.
No, they're
No?
like 50 pounds.
They're
like
50
40,
pounds?
50 pounds
Okay,
a pop. Yeah,
you're
they're,
right.
they're
they
solid.
were.
Yeah.
It's pure cement mix,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
it's-
What am I thinking? It's basically rocks and dirt and this and that in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and so again,
Maybe that's what just felt like 5 to 10 pounds. You know.
That's because just double arming them. And so you start pouring the dry mix, pre-made cement mix into the mixer, and then you just add water. They just sprayed a hose in there,
Yep.
and it starts to turn, and then you're trying to figure out the consistency you need for the right consistency.
Yeah, because we had a good flow going. You were almost on that side catching it. I was basically ripping open the bags, picking up the bags, pouring them in,
yep.
and then your uncles were spinning them, and they were
Spraying,
almost,
adding the
and they were
water.
just going back and forth like, a little more water. No, we're good. No, we need a little more water. Next one, we need more water. And going back to your consistency is you need to have that.
And the way we learned what they said was you listen, and when you can hear the cement like flop, 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 just flops over, that's when you know you're at the right consistency. And then so they pull a lever and turn the whole thing, like pour it over. The cement starts coming out, and then someone has to be there
Nope,
to
that was
even it
kinda
out.
you almost
yeah,
most of the time,
to level
yeah.
it out because first off you want to make a giant mess or have it all in one spot. And you can't leave cement all over the machine because eventually it's going to harden and could ruin the machine.
That is true.
Which kind of is almost what happened at one point. When we finally got all the cement that we needed in, we realized we still had like 2 bags, like wet cement in the mixer, still mixing. And we're like, we can't leave it in the mixer. We're going to destroy this thing. So we had to find a spot to put
So
this
your mom
wet
comes
cement.
out. Mothers always know best.
Oh, she knew she
Mothers
had spots
always
in
know
mind.
best. Yeah, she had a few spots. We went
little
to
here,
try
a little over there.
a little this. But to finishing out the job, your uncle showed me this technique where you take a 2x4 and you're
Yes.
each on the end of the sidewalk. So picture the table here. Steve's there. I'm here, and we're going back and forth.
Work the
Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it's basically what you're doing
Evening,
is you're
flatten
pushing
it.
the rest of it off, and then evening it to make it completely flat with those 2x4s that we
Yes.
built in. Honestly, we could have described it perfectly
Yeah,
right
it's
here.
pretty
There's a
much,
perfect
this is
square.
pretty much what it was.
Yeah, to break it down, there's a bunch of rocks in the center here.
Yep.
We took them out. We flattened this off. We put 2 2x4s on each side of us, and then poured in the cement in here. And then we just did that little technique
Yep.
going back and
then
forth,
the
back
last
and forth.
thing you do after that is you just take a broom and you make some grooves in the cement just to give you a little grip because we live in Michigan and in the wintertime ice gets a little slippery. So,
Just a little bit outside.
just out of common courtesy, make the cement with some grip.
And then while all of us men were doing all that, luckily your mom and aunt, so
Yes.
nice, and and then your dad, because he was going back and forth, he was cooked. They made a nice lunch for us. Great lunch, beautiful. They had barbecue chicken, mac and cheese,
corn on the cob.
Oh my gosh, some couple beers. I might have double fisted at one point, but
hey, they encouraged you.
They did. Your aunt just gave me one, and all I had one. She's like, "You want this one or that one?"
I already have one.
She's like, "We'll take this one now."
Like, oh, all right, I guess.
But it was an interesting day. Just listening to meeting some of your family, talking to your uncle who's been in that industry. Hearing him, learning. I wish I could have remembered more of the terms that he told us, but it's just if someone told me if I had to go do cementing for a little bit, I feel like I could do it, or at least
general grasp now.
It would be like the grip or the assistant. I could do
you wouldn't just show up and be lost. You have some idea. You understand the process.
Yeah, if we were doing like a whole sidewalk, I could be like, okay, this is what we got to do. We got to take this stuff out, either break it out first,
Which was good advice my father told me. He said, if you ever need to help someone with cement, he's like, make sure you help pour the cement. He's like, you don't want to be on the end where you have to remove the cement.
I couldn't even imagine.
Because we had to remove rocks, and that was hard.
Yeah, could you imagine trying to bring big
giant chunks of concrete out? Yeah.
Oh, you don't even want to pour the cement after you do that.
Right. So, so that worked out. And it was just nice to learn a trade or something that, we didn't really know anything about.
Yeah, just something different. That's why I said it's everyday life. I could have easily said, no, I'm not going to help you. But it's like, one, I was curious. Two, you're my friend. I'm going to help out. And it's just like, yeah, why not? What else do I have to do from 8 to noon on a Tuesday morning?
It was like Saturday, but either
whatever way.
Yeah.
I mean, every day is a Saturday to me at this point. Hey. Yeah. But overall, I thought it was fun. It was really fun to do something different.
It was a good experience, yeah.
All right, so we did some cement work. That was one trade. That was cool to learn. We also got an opportunity to learn something new, another trade. I think you should. I'm going to hand it off to you and kind of explain to the viewers why we had to do this.
If I'm correct, I believe you're talking about plumbing.
Yes, plumbing.
Yes, well, that was interesting. So I turned the sink on to get some hot water, and as I turned the sink off, the hot water didn't stop, but the handle came off of the sink. And so we just got running hot water, and I'm standing there with the handle in my hand like, uh-oh. And you're like, what happened? I'm like, we got a problem. Like, come in here. I'm like, all right, we got to turn this water off. So we shut the valve off.
I'm pretty sure I called my friend Nick. I was like, dude, he's a jack of all trades type. I'm like, what do we do? He's like, go into the sink, turn off the valve. I'm like, did that. I'm like, okay. Now we don't have water.
Yep. So
we do not have water in the kitchen.
No water. And we don't really know what to do at this point because the next day, I believe you had to go up north.
Yeah, I went right up north that next day, even though I didn't want to because I was like, I feel I need to fix this.
The sink, but
it's just how life happens, And I went up north and it was like, that's not my problem for the next couple days.
Yeah, so I was still here with the broken sink, and which means I had to bring all the dishes and everything down into the basement to wash them in the laundry sink, which is a nightmare. Especially, I had like 2 people over one night, and we cooked. And you don't realize how much of a mess you make with a couple people and some food. And you got grease and pots and pans. Now you got to carry that down, wash it in a sink that's
not the ideal situation.
It's not the spout for the sink is like 3 inches long, so you can barely even get in there. Like you can only get a little bit at a time. You got to keep. It was a nightmare anyway. So
because I remember I came home, I went downstairs, I'm like, why is there dishes down here? And I was like, light bulb.
The sink.
Yeah, the sink's not working.
And I mean, I looked around at a couple places. I found some sinks. I was like, I could buy one and start this project, but I'm like, I'm gonna wait for you. I'm like, I don't know what kind of sink you want.
Yes. So we ended up just running right over to Home Depot, and we browsed their huge selection of sinks. There were some nice ones, some crappy ones, some cool ones with attachments, this and that.
We found the style that we were looking for.
Yeah, we found the style we were looking for. The one where you pull it out and you can kind of do that. And some of the other ones are cool. Like you had like 3 attachments. You could add a soap. You could have the sprayer on the right side or the left side, and you could have there's so many different types of kitchen sinks now, like from way up price range to super low. But yeah, we found the one we wanted. And we got back.
Well, before that, we immediately went on Amazon to check the price. Because what else do you do?
Who else does that?
And of course, it was cheaper on Amazon.
Yeah, like half the price.
But we had to wait
it's 7 to 10
and
shipping.
We're like, we're not going another week without a sink. Like, we'll pay $20 more. Who cares?
Yeah, I need it now. Like, I can't keep going without a sink. It just looks weird in there.
Right.
And then we got back, and then I'm pretty sure I looked up how to change out a kitchen sink faucet.
Home Depot video,
which was one of the best.
Fantastic! Shout out to Home Depot. Great job.
Yeah, it was one of the best
Seriously.
how-to videos on how to do something in your home, and they had more of other things like how to do this, how to do that.
Yeah.
But this one we literally followed it step by
step.
step, and it showed us. I think plumbing is just such a universal thing that you can be pretty specific about those things. It's almost like, you buy a adapter for a car or like a phone charger. They're all becoming universal. So yeah, someone probably had the bright idea, like, let's just make all plumbing universal.
Yeah,
So
which would make
it makes
sense.
everything easy,
Yeah.
for the people like us who want to attempt to do this project.
Yeah. And so after we figured it out, we're like, looks pretty easy. Like, we could do this.
Yeah, we got this.
So I think it must have been, about midnight?
Yeah,
We
who
decided to
starts a project at midnight?
tackling this project. And so, like I said, we were confident that we could do it. And so first thing you do is you take everything out from under the sink.
Because you need the work under there.
Yeah, and then you crawl in there, and then you instantly realize why plumbers make good money. Because other than knowing what they're doing, you are in these tight spaces and uncomfortable positions. You can barely move your hand, like to twist, like a quarter inch twist, and
well, before you got to start working on any of the pipings, you have to make sure every single
of the valve and
all the valves
water's
are off. Because fast forwarding just a little bit, once we finally got one of the connectors off, water was going everywhere. We were freaking out. We were like, oh my god. But we solved it. We had a mini panic attack for a half a second. But once we kind of started working underneath there and seeing, like I said, how tight it was underneath there, we finally got to that first connector, because we almost gave up after the first hour.
Yeah,
we couldn't get anything.
Some of those parts are fragile too, and if you pull a pipe too hard, you start bending it, and you're like, are we doing this wrong?
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to break anything else under there.
And we start questioning ourselves because we've never done this, and we're like, are we doing this wrong? Like, are we going to break something? Then eventually we got the first one, we disconnected it, and we're like, okay, we can do it. Then we eventually got all of them disconnected.
Yeah, and the dominoes just kind of, basically just kept falling. And then we took all those connectors out. It made sense because actually my sink upstairs, it has an interesting attachment up there. It's got an instant hot water.
Yeah.
So technically the hot water
It's like
splits
a little
off.
tank or something.
Yeah, it splits off into, so when the water lines, it splits off to two lines. So it goes to the sink and then it goes to the instant hot water. So that was another little kind of curveball in there. And luckily they had the adapter already. No, that was not in the video. At that point, we were kind of figuring it out. I'm like, okay, this is what you got to do.
And so we realized, like, okay, we're going to take the old one out and basically just put the same water lines back into where they were. So we ripped out the old sink. You got to clean out all that crap. That sink had been there, 20, 30 years?
Yeah, I texted Gary, the guy who sold me the house. He's like, yeah, that sink has been there for like 20, 30 years. Because I texted him when it broke. I was like, you sold me a broken sink. He's like, not my problem anymore.
Right. Welcome to home ownership.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's basically what he said. Because he's like, I just bought one and it broke within 2 years. I'm like, ooh. So he's like, you were lucky you had that for 20, 30 years.
So eventually we got it out, and then we opened up the box for the new one, started assembling that. And we're like, okay, it should be pretty easy. We just put it right back in the sink, and we start connecting the water lines again. We turn it on, we got water.
But the water was opposites. Cold was hot, hot was cold, and that's not what you want, because you kind of looked at me and you're like,
should we live with this for the rest of our life?
I was like, absolutely not. I was like, that's going to bug me every second of the day. I need this to be fixed. And this is already at like 3:15 at this point, so we had to go back under, disconnect everything, which is it wasn't as bad, but it's just you got to repeat the work. It's something you don't want to do because it's just like we need to do that right the first time.
We thought we were done. Yeah, we turned the water on. We're like, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Then, so we got the cold and hot water correct, and
around 4 a.m. we finished it and we had water. It was just
4 a.m. But it was nice to have water. So I actually remember, I was so tired at that point. I went to bed. I woke up the next day, walked in the kitchen. I was like, oh, we got a sink. Like, yes, I forgot. Like, it felt like a dream. I was like, oh my God, we got water. I turned it on. I was like, oh, God, it's so nice. You forget the little things, like how important they are.
Yeah, you have to go downstairs again and wash dishes. And it was just cool that we tackled it. Like, we got this, because I could have hired a plumber, and he could. You don't know what plumbers are going to charge.
Another trade.
And it's just something, it's just nice because I got to learn the inner waterworks of my house and see where the lines go. I can understand, what this one goes to the bathroom, this one goes to the kitchen, this one goes to the shower. It's interesting just looking up when you see, all these pipes in the basement and you're like, okay, that's the electrical now. That goes here, that goes there. And once you start putting that perspective when you're underneath and you're like, wow, someone putting the time to run all these lines.
What's interesting if you go a little deeper, you got to think about that on like a larger scale as a whole subdivision or like a city. Like somebody had to plan all that stuff.
Sewers, piping.
That's why civil engineering, I don't really know anything about it, but it always is so fascinating to me because, someone had to plan out the electrical and the water and everything. And if you ever go to like New York or somewhere, once you're in a big city, like then you have tunnels underground that somebody had to build a tunnel.
Yep.
Even so, like, I don't know, it's just so much planning. It's crazy. It blows my mind sometimes to think about.
No, it really inches. Like on the small scale, then when you bring it up to that big scale, it's a crazy world we live in with all this.
So much of it for granted. It's all just like
someone had to come up with that, like you said.
Yes, for granted. Sorry.
Granted or
Any
granite?
Rick and Morty fans.
I thought it was
there.
granted.
I'm pretty sure I said granite.
Granite.
It's
Granted.
granted.
It's so easy to say it's granite.
But yeah, like you said, it was nice to learn another trait, and another skill, and another life.
You can call me
lesson.
You can call me Plumber Paul now.
I'll think about it.
But Steve, before we wrap up the show, you mentioned on a previous episode that you were going to, or I, or we were going to try one of our peppers on the show from the garden. Because the garden, just a little update. It's not doing too hot. But it is thriving a little bit.
Still, the plants are still alive.
Kinda.
Some of them, most of them. Oh, well, we did give up on the cucumber plant, actually, now I'm thinking about it.
But I do have a little secret right here for you today in this box.
I think that's what I think it is. So
there's 3 of them here. We don't have to hit all 3.
Lay them all out. Yeah, let's see what they look like. Oh, God, that one's a monster. I don't know what camera, it's going to come out best on. But
Probably this one right here.
Oh, boy. How are we going about this?
What do you think?
Rock, paper, scissors to pick? On shoot or just on scissors?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay, ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I saw you do your hand.
I was trying to.
You're gonna do it.
I was trying to trick you.
All right, I'm gonna take this little guy.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's a little darker, but that's okay. I'm thinking the size is what matters.
I'm not eating the whole. I'm gonna take a bite.
That's fair.
All right. I'm gonna go like about
as happy and as much as I regret doing this. We did say that we'll do it, so it's from the garden.
Cheers.
Yep. Here we go.
Oh boy.
Oh, there's a little kick.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Everyday Life with Paul and Steve. You can catch us on the next episode. Once again, I'm Paul.
I'm Steve.
We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
We're out.
Oh my God.
Delicious, but very hot. Let's not do that again.
Still burns.
Oh, yeah.